What's going on, all you people out there in YouTube land? Jeffrey Bar. Hold up. What's going on, all? Okay. Sorry. Let me start over. Okay. What's going on, all of you people out there in YouTube on social media? Jeffrey Bartel here, and today I'm doing another Bernie-related live stream. Now, on this live stream, I'm going to be showing you all of my Bernie stories with the purpose to inspire, to motivate with the purpose that it will motivate everyone in America to vote for Bernie because he's still on the ballot, and to motivate Bernie Sanders himself to unsuspend his 2020 presidential campaign so he can beat Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination, and then take on and beat evil President Donald Trump, J. Trump, and become the next and true president of the United States. So this video has two purposes. Vote for Bernie and Bernie come back. The hashtag's right there. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get to the live stream. There it is. So let's get this party started, shall we? In 5, 4, 3. Take a look at them real quick before I, Alrighty. Counting down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let me just really quick make sure the volume's working. I don't want any flaws. Whoa. That's really why. Let's see now. Hang on, I did something to the audio. Let me fix it. Try again.
Hi.
There we go. I fixed it. Alrighty. I didn't want anything to go wrong on this video. That's what I'm doing. That's why I make it extra checks. So, without further ado,
Hi.
Let's get started. Let's get this party started. Oh yeah.
Hi.
Oops, sorry, I've forgotten one last thing. Now let's try it again. Let's get this party started. I forgot to turn off the mic so you don't hear a beeping noise when you do this. So now, let's restart that. Let's get this party started. for Bernie Sanders. Enjoy. Hi everybody, my name is Jerry Bartle, and as you can see, I'm a Bernie fan. See the shirt? I mean, what do you think? I upgraded it, and I even entered it in the fair. See, it even got first place. Anyway, I believe a Bernie presidency would change a lot. For one, we would get Medicare for all. More actions on climate change would be taken. After all, if we don't do anything about climate change, we'll all die. We would even give it $15 minimum wage, $50 an hour minimum wage, which is good because people need money in order to get a basic living. They shouldn't be allowed to work two jobs, 3 or 4 a day, just so they can get the money they need to make a living. That's not right. And for us, I hope it can allow us to upgrade our Xfinity. You know what I mean? You know, bring the price down, so no company rips us off. Well, that's it. I would like to invite. Oh, and before I forget, I'd like to. There's also something else I'd like to say. I'd like to invite you to take a poll on this Bernie app. Help out every now and then take a survey saying that you're Bernie fan or not. I would even like you to take a survey on about the election here. Well, yeah, before I forget. Before I forget, I know I want to help. I'm trying to help Bernie win this time, and if you want to undo everything Trump has done, you best support him too. I met him once, but I wish I could have met him in person. You know what I mean? But anyway, before I close this video, I want to say one thing. Or sing it. I don't know.
Yeah. Almost Bernie, yeah.
OneHappyBirthday.com.
That was for you. Alrighty. Till next time, this is Jeff Bartel, signing off. Hi everybody. My name is Jeffrey Bartel, and I live here in Fresno, California. And this is my Bernie story. So this time, last time I talked about some, but now I'm going to talk to you about why I support him. It happened until the 2016 election. I didn't know much about it. I didn't even know who he was till the 2016 election. And I couldn't decide between either Hillary Clinton or him. But then, when I dug deep, I dug deeper, and my choice became clear. It was Bernie Sanders. So, and as time went on, even though we did lose, I did get the research and more. So as you can see, me and Bernie think a lot alike. We both agree on the same ideals, same principle. I'm starting to believe that I'm starting to agree with his democratic socialism ideology, and I think that may be best for America. And I even agree with everything. Whatever Bernie agrees, I agree with, even if it's with Trump. Ugh. Hate that man. But I believe But Bernie's right on one thing. We need, I think anyway, at least I think he said it, we need to stop. Humanity needs to stop fighting each other and start working together in order to preserve this planet for future generations. Look at it this way. And if you can see, I'm wearing this shirt again. This shirt I won first place at the Fresno Fair. Anyway, I believe it doesn't matter what your it doesn't matter what your language is, what your nationality is, what your skin color is, what your wealth is, you get the idea. What matter? We all come from the same. We are all human. Some may disagree. Some may disagree. As you know, there are some people like that. Ugh. And I don't like those kind of people. But we gotta stop. But we have to stop. But we have to stop fighting. I mean, let's take this example. Taiwan, China, North Korea, South Korea, Pakistan, India. Those countries should stop looking at what's different and start looking at what's the same in a way. Because who knows? Maybe they might eventually find true peace. And that's what I hope Bernie works towards. And if not, I'll do it. I'll do it. 'Cause yeah, I want to become president of the United States too. You should've. We all belong to one human race. And some may believe in God, some may don't. But whoever created us, we all belong to the same human race. We may look different, we may think differently, but we're all human in the end. Because think about it. If everything was the same, this world would be pretty boring. That's why I want to try to fight. That's what I'm fighting. And I like to become Bernie Sanders' apprentice. And I'm even helping him out. And I'm even helping him out in the election. And I'll prove. And let me prove it. Let me prove it to you. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's all. I don't know if you can see that, but that's emails I've been sending to the Bernie team. There we go. All this just to help Bernie out. Because I really want him to win this time. And I've even done this for him. I've even been collecting them. I even made a YouTube playlist for videos that show to Bernie Sanders. Right now there's 307 videos. Very good, very important ones. I'm gonna go slowly so you can see them. Most of these videos are ideas from information you get, and these will also be information for me too when I eventually become president myself. And I'll be running around. I'm going to hopefully be running around 2048, 20 or 2052. Even some videos from Watch Mojo. Bloomberg, Now This World, Fox, Represent Us. A lot of it. Even They Will Kill You. Those were YouTube channels I was Life's Biggest Questions. Even those, all those were YouTube channels I was just talking about. Even Policy ED. Even discussing some videos even discuss what happens if this creature goes extinct, or what happens if the rainforest was destroyed. Even what if the Basilosaurus didn't go extinct. The Mythbusters experiment, guns versus grenades. There's an idea. 8 negative effects of climate change. Even some stuff that Israel came up with. What if killer whales went extinct? All these videos in order by popularity. And that's it. As you can see, I'm really determined. In fact, I am so determined I even want to become Bernie Sanders' apprentice. Yeah, you heard me. His apprentice. In fact, Bernie Sanders is a role model for people who want to get into politics, whether they're Democrat or Republican, Independent, Green Party, you name it. He is a role model of what politicians should be like. How they should be for the people, by the people, of the people, and not for the 1%, for the 1%, and of the 1%. If I said that right. I'm just coming up with ideas a lot. I even record my ideas of what I do in office. What I'd like to share with Bernie Sanders. But some are classified. Some of my ideas are classified, and I don't want to tell them for fear of it falling into the wrong hands. But you have to imagine me when I got the word Bernie. But I gotta tell you this: when I got the word Bernie Sanders was running again. You can imagine my reaction on my face. I was almost like, woo, woo, yeah, woo, 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 woo. Kind of like that. Sometimes I kind of crack myself up when I do that. I would do a react. I would do a reaction to show you the video right now, but I can't. But I'm not going to because for A, I never did it, and B, for both reasons, in fear of copyright infringement. But I can leave a link to you. But I can leave a link to you down in the screen, down in the description or comments or even on the video itself. But I know. But you gotta. But that was just. Man. I know if I can meet. I'd like to meet you, Bernie Sanders, in person. Because that little girl, I too believe. I never got into politics till around. Into it until about the last years of the Obama administration. At first I believed the Iran nuclear deal was a mistake, but looking into it a little deeper, going deeper into it, I realized it was the right thing to do. And then when Trump won the presidency, that's when I fully got involved and wanted to get involved in politics. At first, I was going to support the First Amendment to some person with a mental disability, but now I decided I want to run, kind of like what Tom Steyer did right now. I don't know what Tom Steyer was thinking. What made him backtrack on his original plan? But it's interesting if you ask. But I would love to know. What made him go from being supporting to actually running? That's something. That's something I like to know. So, out of my top 5 candidates for. So here's my top 5 candidates. And sorry for any of those people. These guys are not on the. My top 5 are number 1, Bernie Sanders. Number 2, Tulsi Gabbard. Number 3, Tom Steyer. Number 4, Maria Williamson. I think that's her name. Number 5, Andrew Yang. And sorry to say, these guys are. I'm definitely not going to vote for them. And I'll explain to you why in a second, as soon as I can bring this up. Yeah, hang on. I really want to tell you this. Here we go. Okay. There are four candidates not to vote for. You should not even vote for, at least at all. One of them is Joe Biden. Another is Pete Buttigieg. Oops. If I even pronounced that right. Another is Kamala Harris. Oh, that's right. Someone's voting for that person. And another is Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke. And to be honest, that one was a shocker to me. I thought he'd be like the next Robert F. Kennedy, but I was wrong. But apparently, I was wrong. And in a sec. But I still But we need to prevent. One thing we definitely need to prevent is a world war. We need to solve crises before they. We should stop being the world's military super. We should stop being the global police. I think it's just making more people hate us. I could be wrong though. But anyway, let's say the reasons why. Let's see the reasons why, they're not to vote for these people. Alright, Joe Biden has been personally involved in nearly every bad policy decision of the last 50 years. Currently coasting on name recognition and association with Obama, he can only go down from here as people realize he is more comparable to Trump than he is to anyone else. With all the negatives of Hillary's failed campaign, but none of the positives, he would almost surely see us lose the general election again. If you love your grandchildren, please don't vote for Biden. And here are his top 5 highlights. Joe Biden led the fight against desegregating schools. He voted for the disastrous Iraq War and still says he'd do it again, even though the Iraq War led to the creation of ISIS. Ugh. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if we never went to war with Iraq and instead Bush let Obama handle that. Because I know for sure that if Iraq was still under Saddam's control during the Arab Spring, he would have seen some uprisings, and I bet we would have had to stop him too. Okay, back to where I was doing. Biden wrote the racist crime bill that intentionally led to record-breaking mass incarcerations, positioning himself to the right of even Reagan and Bush. Well, I don't know about Reagan, but I do know Reagan helped end the Cold War. That's probably why he's in the top 10. I don't know about the other disastrous stuff that Reagan did. And he opposed Roe v. Wade versus Wade and voted to allow states to overturn it like they are now. Work to undermine the ACA's coverage of birth control. Does not view abortion as a choice and a right, and still opposed federal funding for it multiple times, including during this election. And here's the last. He has a long history of creepily groping, sniffing, kissing women and young girls just so many times, even including intimidating and continuing even now after his non-apology. Now let's take a look at Pete Buttigieg. He can at least speak a lot of languages and would be a historic first gay president. But he has less experience than Bernie had in 1988. And I still wonder how Bernie got all that experience. I mean, even he had to get some stuff wrong. No one was born right. No one was born right. They had to learn from experience. There's even see he had to get some stuff wrong. Anyway, 1988, and those 7 years as mayor of Indiana's 4th biggest town had been problematic at best. Here's his top 5 highlights. Fired South Bend's black police chief for exposing racism in the police force, then lied about it, then fired those calling for an investigation, possibly leaving innocent black people imprisoned, while some in his inner circle backed a $45,000 loan to one of the accused racist cops, refused to investigate the apparent lynching of a 16-year-old black boy, when a white officer with a documented history of racist behavior that violated department policy was allowed to stay on the force without a body cam. He shot and killed an elderly black. Sorry about that, folks. The battery in my camera
exhausted, so I had to change batteries. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. When a white officer with a documented history of racist behavior that violated department policy was allowed to stay on the force without a body cam, he shot and killed an elderly man. Mayor Pete then spoke to the media about the victim's family, skipped the vigil, and then gave a speech to the police instead too much criticism. Allowed a white officer to keep his job after multiple racist and violent incidents, including beating and tasing an innocent teen after breaking into the wrong house, and torturing a disabled man and posting a video of it online as retaliation for the man filing a complaint about the force ignoring a drunk driving incident, even despite a community-led campaign and petition. He oversaw increases in homelessness and displacement during his time as mayor of South Bend. Man. First gay person, but I would love to see a first gay president, but I don't want it to be him. I don't want it to be Pete Buttigieg. Now let's take a look at Kamala Harris. She would be the first female president who is also a corrupt cop. Ooh. I hope some people who are Kamala Harris supporters watching this right now, because I'm about to read you the top 5 highlights. And I just hope it makes you change your mind that, to not vote for her. Top 5 highlights: pushed a law that forces schools to turn undocumented students over to ICE, separating them from their parents and violating human rights. That almost sounds something like Trump would do. Come on! Actually, that is something Trump did. And now it sounds like she's backing the idea. I hope she's not still to this day. Otherwise, her career's gonna bye-bye. She laughed about putting parents in jail if their kids miss school, disproportionately harming single-parent households, the poor, and families of color like this one, including homeless mothers. Her office refused to address what the Supreme Court calls unconstitutionally overcrowded prisons, specifically to perpetuate the exploitation of the mass incarnated for slave labor close to $1 an hour. She later claimed she didn't know her own lawyers argued this. Clarified 7-1. Declined to prosecute Stephen Mnuchin after his bank predatory lending and foreclosure fraud broke the law over 1,000 times and ruined the lives of thousands of homeowners, keeping him free to donate to her campaign and become Trump's Treasury Secretary. Jesus. I'm sorry I had to say that, sorry. Is she secretly a Trump supporter? Oh my goodness. Spent years jailing disproportionately black nonviolent cannabis users while opposing taking cannabis off the DEA's list of most dangerous substances, and literally laughing at the idea of legalizing it multiple times, even as her Republican opponent ran to the left of her on the issue. She then tried to ponder by admitting to smoking herself despite prosecuting others, but got her story all wrong and even offended her own Jamaican family to the point they've disassociated with her. Expanded 7-2. Dang. Some Trump supporters be happy about her. Now, finally, Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke. More likely to stand on something than for anything. Beto rose to fame by clearing the low bar of being less unlikable than Ted Cruz. like most white men born into wealth, he's failed up, choosing a vanity run for president, despite being best positioned to flip Texas's other Senate seat in 2020. So, Beto, if you're watching this, I think you should drop out of the race and go and run and flip the other Texas Senate seat. He says he was born for it, but maybe he should have just stuck to skateboarding. I don't know what that means, but it says so right here. Here are his top 5 highlights. Continues to appropriate Mexican nickname Beto, which was given to him specifically to pander to trick Hispanic voters when running for office, despite criticism from the Hispanic community. Clarifies 7-1. Wow. Uses political power to help his millionaire father-in-law gentrify poor Hispanic communities with a racist plan that relocated poor Hispanics to make way for property investments made by wealthy Republican donors. And get this, he opposed Obamacare. He tried to cut Social Security and attack labor unions to appease Republican donors. Is he? I wonder, is Beto O'Rourke a Republican in disguise? Sheesh. Sheesh. Sorry, the battery died again. Where was I again? Oh yeah. There are just some people that should not be allowed to run for president. In fact, I have ideas that a set of rules to put in place in the general election. So this way, you have to either abide by the rules or be disqualified from the race. Like for example, you must release your tax return. A definite requirement. Now it will have to be a requirement now to release your tax returns before the first general election. If you don't release it by then, you're out of the race. No excuses. Another example: you cannot encourage fights, mock people, and you even have to go through a background check before you can even run or announce your candidacy. Make sure you're clean, if you know what I mean. And that background check will go very deep. Now they're so deep, in fact, until they can't dig anymore. Now anyway, back to what I was. Back to Beto O'Rourke. Number 4. He generally voted against Democrats so much he was in the top 5th of lawmakers voting against their own party, voting with Trump a third of the time, even though he represented one of the most solid blue districts in the country. Jeez, is this guy secretly a Trump supporting Democrat? Man, hate for that to be. He ran the most expensive congressional race of all time with immense establishment and celebrity backing, and still lost the guy who lost to Trump, Ted Cruz. Now I don't see how that's a bad thing. But here's something. He voted with Republicans to deregulate Wall Street so many times that I may have to keep typing more words to hyperlink. That's what it says. I did this. He voted with Republicans for Trump's second round of tax scam legislations. He even broke his own pledge to not accept money from fossil fuel industries, bringing in nearly $500 million, and then refused to sign another while backtracking on climate crisis legislations. He voted with Republicans to lift the 40-year oil export ban multiple times, voted to speed up the exports, and voted against Democratic legislations to ban new drilling. Now, if that doesn't turn you against Beto O'Rourke, I don't know what will. But those are the 4 people that you should not vote for. Definitely. I'll even leave a link to it. I'll even leave a link to the article somewhere in the video. I'm still learning how to be a politician. I want to learn how to be as great a politician as Bernie Sanders. But I don't know how, because I do have high functioning autism, and I wonder if that's even if people like me can even run. But I have faith. If I do manage to become president of the United States, I would vow to become a president for the people like Bernie Sanders. I would live up to his legacy and continue it. And that would be a promise. And that would be a promise. I think this is the promise sign. I'm not sure. But if it's not, then sorry. Then that's a promise. Bernie Sanders and me are a lot. Sometimes I believe me. Sometimes I wonder if someone in his family was my donor that gave birth to me. Because there is such thing as giving birth through donated sperm, and that's the case. Because after all, it's either that or my mom raised me similar to Bernie Sanders' beliefs. Oh. But I shouldn't probably get into that. But I still like to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. But I just hope there's something. Even if Bernie is elected, I just hope he doesn't. I'm just glad he's not showing support for I'm just glad he's not showing support for Benjamin Netanyahu and what he's doing in Israel. I believe that, and he said it himself. As Bernie Sanders on Israel's decision to deny entrance to 2 elected U.S. officials, if Israel doesn't want members of the United States Congress to visit their country, maybe they can respectfully decline the billions of dollars that we give to Israel. And that's what he said. And I'm glad. Benjamin Netanyahu, I believe, is going too far. And I think Israel has become more of a dictatorship. I could tell you more ideas, but I don't want to put a target on my head. So in other words, which I really would like to thank. I really like to thank you again for watching this. If you want, and for Bernie, this message goes out to Bernie Sanders. And I hope one thing. Let's just hope Bernie Sanders can label the white supremacist organization. white supremacist organizations as terrorist organizations. But I think now that, so I believe now, sometimes they just go too far. Bernie is the man. Bernie is the one. Bernie, yay, Bernie. And before I close out the video, I like to say this to him. If you're watching this. Merry Christmas, Bernie Sanders. Or should it be saying Happy Hanukkah? Oh, I don't know what to say, so I'm just gonna say Happy Holidays, Bernie Sanders. I hope you're watching that. But thanks for watching this video. Thank you for watching this video. Now don't forget to like this video, comment, and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you can, help my YouTube. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then help this channel reach 1,000 subscribers, and help her, and Bernie too, and help my video reach 100+ views, and help support Bernie Sanders in any which way you can by going to the Burn app, or even making a poll about the election. But until then, this is Jerry Bartol saying,
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to all, and to all a good night.
good luck, Bernie. Bye.
Hey everybody, Jerry Bartol here, and this is my Bernie story. Today I'm going to show you the top 10 reasons why Bernie Sanders may actually become president, if no one interferes, that is. And before we go on, let me just say that the video I'm presenting to you is owned by WatchMojo.com, which is one of the largest producers, publishers, and syndicators of video content on the web. It's also brought WatchMojo.com is one of the most subscribed to channels on YouTube. WatchMojo produces top 10 lists and more on movies, music, television, anime, sports, history, news, video games, and all things pop culture. If you want, you can suggest your own list to watch Mojo for them to produce. Of course, it will take some time because none of my lists have been produced yet. But anyway, let's get to the video, shall we?
That's the one.
Sorry, had to get that audio right, correct. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look.
I am proud to announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
He's progressive, independent, and maybe the next president of the United States of America.
Some have tried to frame you as this fringe candidate, but a lot of the things you believe are things that the majority of Americans believe.
Welcome to...
Don't forget liberal. He's also a liberal. At least I think that's correct. Anyway.
And maybe the next president of the United States of America.
Some have tried to frame you as this fringe candidate, but a lot of the things you believe are things that the majority of Americans believe.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons Bernie Sanders may actually become president.
1 million individuals this year will go bankrupt because of medically related costs. That's absurd.
For this list, we're counting down the surprising reasons why Sanders could be elected President of the United States of America, following his announcement of candidacy for the Democratic nomination in the 2016 presidential election.
Now is the time for a federal jobs program to create millions of decent-paying jobs.
This also applies for the 2020 campaign too. So it's not that, it's not that old. So even though it's from 2016, it still applies to 2020. So let's keep watching, shall we?
Number 10, he fought for civil rights in the 60s.
I was arrested when I was a student protesting segregation of schools in Chicago.
It's true, Bernie Sanders has an extensive background in civil rights, as he was a student organizer for the Congress of Racial Equality while enrolled at the University of Chicago.
African-American youth unemployment is totally off the charts. We got to put young people to work. We've got to give them an education rather than putting them in jail.
But his major challenge today will be convincing non-white voters of his policies rather than referencing events from half a century ago.
Last night, in a show of force, police in riot gear used tear gas and beanbag rounds to disperse crowds.
In a time of social unrest and social media influence, Mr. Sanders will not only have to focus on the voices of minorities, but also to hear their collective voices.
But anybody who thinks we're anywhere near where we should be in terms of creating a non-discriminatory society is dead wrong.
And let me remind you of something. If you think Joe Biden claims he fought in the civil rights movement too, but guess what? He never did. He's lying when he said that. He's lying when he said that. But I agree. Bernie has to do more than just, Bernie has to do more than just, prove that he wasn't. Do more. What she said, anyway. Let's continue on.
Number 9. He'd be the first non-Christian president in U.S. history.
The problems we face did not come down from the heavens. They are made by bad human decisions. And good human decisions can change them.
Born in Brooklyn, New York, Bernie Sanders was raised by Jewish parents. His father emigrated from Poland after his family perished in the Holocaust, and his mother grew up in a Jewish New York home.
An African American has broken the barrier as old as the Republic. An astonishing candidate, an astonishing campaign, a seismic shift in American politics.
America made history by electing their first African American president in Barack Obama in 2007. And while Hillary Clinton may ultimately become the first woman to reach the position,
and I hope you'll join me on this journey,
it's perhaps fitting that a progressive-thinking non-Christian like Bernie Sanders is suddenly considered for the Democratic nomination.
But it will not happen unless we stand up and fight back for not only ourselves, but for our kids and future generations.
Now, Levy, even if he doesn't even if he doesn't win, I still hope that one day I still hope one day in the future America will elect its first like Jewish, Muslim, Arab. You get the idea. Because if we keep electing white Christians, this is just as president, then this is just going to prove that we're not a democracy. We're something else. Now let's continue.
Number 8. He has a consistent progressive voting record.
Middle class is collapsing, poverty is up, and the rich are doing phenomenally well. What do you do?
While Bernie Sanders may be a new name to some, he's long been a defender of American manufacturing, climate change awareness, and both the middle and lower classes.
Do you give one whit of concern to the middle class and working families of this country? That's my question.
In 2003, he dropped some forceful words on Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve. And as television commentators will inevitably shift their attention to Hillary Clinton during campaign interviews.
Is Hillary Clinton committed to this cause, as are you?
Wolf, you have to ask Hillary.
Well, what do you think?
I don't work for her. I don't know.
Sanders remains steadfast about his concern for not only the next generation of Americans, but for all of those whom will inhabit the planet in a distant future. Those forced to live with any mistakes being made now.
They're sick and tired of working longer hours for low wages, while at the same time 99% of all new income generated is going to the top 1%.
We need more progressive liberals like Bernie Sanders in office. Oh, and for those who are wondering, I'm pausing the video so you don't miss out on this, if you know what I mean. Because I don't want to be rude. He's my idol after all.
Number 7. He supports universal health care.
Over 18,000 Americans die every single year because they don't have access to a doctor when they need that access. That's wrong.
This is a critical aspect of Bernie Sanders' campaign, and it's something that Americans can embrace. Rather than spreading paranoia about the threats of other countries, Sanders supports the healthcare model of Scandinavia and the concept that Americans should receive free healthcare as a fundamental human right.
The United States of America remains the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to our people as a right of citizenship.
Sanders' belief that more dollars should be spent on preventing disease rather than filling the pockets of officials resonates with many.
Let's pass the cost-effective way to provide universal health care to all of our people, and that is through a single-payer system.
Number 6, he's a socialist.
You describe yourself as a democratic socialist, and that is, some would say, a dangerous thing politically to describe you as.
Yes, Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and here's why.
So I think
not just any socialist, a democratic socialist. There's a huge difference. If you don't know the difference, look it up. And if you believe it's like socialism isn't as different as communism, you are dead wrong. I did my research, and it is very different.
when people understand that in those countries, governments are working for the middle class rather than the billionaire class, I think we can get our message across.
In essence, Mr. Sanders is a socialist in that he's focused on protecting the lower and middle classes, along with the country in general.
Me, I make a lot of money. Did you know that, Senator?
I kind of guessed that.
Yeah, I make a lot. So what is my income tax rate under your administration? What would it be?
While TV commentators and pundits tend to fear and cringe at the socialist label, his supporters view Sanders' progressive thinking as one reason why he has historically dropped his partisan hat and thought about the larger picture.
The time is long overdue for these major corporations to start reinvesting in America and creating decent-paying jobs right here.
All right, Bernie Sanders, everybody. Keep it going, Bernie.
Number 5. He has an honest demeanor and speaks his mind.
We can't go around telling people we're a free country when either the government or the corporate world knows every damn thing about you. That's not really freedom.
Okay, the idea of an honest politician is kind of a joke, but given Bernie Sanders' history as an independent, it seems like he may not care what people think about him when it comes to speaking the truth.
He's a long shot.
A long shot.
I don't think he's going to be taken too credibly.
Bernie Sanders is a socialist, for God's sake.
After all, Sanders is a long shot to win, but his no-nonsense demeanor is far from an act.
Does any of this matter to you?
In fact, it just may be one reason why so many voters seem to support his potential presidential nomination.
Like me.
If anything, what I would like to ask of you.
Sure, Bernie may verbally stumble at times,
But I do have some other attributes that are better than that.
and he may not drop his Brooklyn accent to adapt to regional voters. But according to supporters, that's part of his charm. Number 4, he doesn't deny climate change.
The debate is over, except within the Republican Party.
Right.
Climate change is real. It is already causing devastating problems.
Here's the thing, either you believe modern scientists or you don't. While some politicians stand behind usual partisan viewpoints,
God's still up there, he says. The arrogance of people to think that we human beings would be able to change what he is doing in the climate.
Oof, wow.
See, I love that. He's mad.
Bernie Sanders' independent and free-thinking mind appeals to young voters for whom the issue of climate change is a big deal.
So what an honor it is for me to be part of this. Thank you very much, Bernie.
Along with Senator Barbara Boxer, Sanders set in motion the Global Warming Pollution Reduction Act of 2007, and he's also voted against the Keystone Pipeline system.
So we have got to defeat this Keystone Pipeline. We've got to rally the American people to do it, and we've got to get President Obama to be strong on this issue.
Number 3, he's anti-establishment, refuses super PACs.
The Supreme Court said these entities will not be corrupting because it's independent and it's fully disclosed. And I think arguably neither of those premises is really being borne out by the reality of modern campaigning.
Coined by reporter Eliza Newland Carney, the super PAC allows candidates to roll around in a pile of cash. But the committees may not make direct contributions to campaigns. They can, however, spend a ton of money promoting said candidate. With that being said, the anti-establishment Bernie Sanders is anti-super PAC.
So I don't think we're going to outspend Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush or anybody else. But I think we are going to raise the kinds of money that we need to run a strong and winning campaign.
By supporting the middle class, Sanders has received an average contribution of around $43 per donation during his brief political campaign. But when you add it all up, there's enough for an independent to make a serious run at the Oval Office. It's a lofty goal, but the method behind the madness is representative of the American dream.
I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich.
Unlike Donald Trump, Americans can relate to the ideology of Bernie Sanders.
I think that we can raise a lot of small donations today. We opened up our website. We announced our candidacy, BernieSanders.com. I believe in the first few hours we've raised already $500,000.
Number 2, he's in favor of free or low-cost universities.
We're wasting the intellectual capital of so many bright young people.
Information is power, but unfortunately, higher education will break the bank. Today's college graduates find themselves in enormous debt upon entering the real world.
I have around $30,000 worth of student debt. It's kind of like a dark cloud that hangs over you.
And unless you come from an elite family, a good job is not always guaranteed. Bernie Sanders wants to put a Robin Hood tax on Wall Street speculation, which would ultimately create funding for free or low-cost tuition at public colleges and universities. The vision is the easy part, but young voters are leaning in.
Senator Sanders' proposal is exactly what the broken system of the U.S. higher education system needs. A free education means a free society.
A Bernie Sanders presidency gives America's students a shot at accessible higher education, rather than none at all, further explaining his rise.
And maybe at a time when my Republican friends just decided to put another $38 billion into the military, maybe we can cut military spending a little bit and put it into education.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont.
is the longest-serving independent in the history of Congress.
He's selling himself as more Jeb than Bush, but he is borrowing one thing from his brother: compassionate conservatism.
So enough of the rhetoric, enough of the speeches, enough about how everybody loves the veterans. Now is the time for action.
Number 1, policies for low and middle class instead of the 1%.
What they are saying is Congress seems to deal with everything except the reality facing the middle class.
You don't have to believe in climate change, free education, or even universal health care. But the fact remains that 1/10 of the top 1% in America has more money than essentially everybody else.
Wall Street now is doing phenomenally well while the middle class is disappearing. And you want to know why the American people are angry and disgusted and frustrated? That's why.
As a staunch defender of the common man and woman, Bernie Sanders hopes to distribute America's wealth by rebuilding the country's infrastructure, creating jobs, and slowly but surely changing the way of life for Americans.
I've proposed spending $1 trillion would create 13 million jobs over a 5-year period.
In other words, he wants to stop the growth of wealth inequality in the country. As the Bernie Sanders buzz continues to grow, it will be interesting to see if his popularity increases or stalls.
Feel the burn! Feel the burn!
Either way, his candor and progressive policies are hard to ignore.
At the end of the day, they may have the money, but we have the people, and when the people stand together, we can win. Thank you all very much.
Do you agree with our list?
And what I'm saying to you is yes.
Do you think Bernie Sanders may actually become president? For more mind-blowing top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Because you're an honest person. I think you just don't know what's going on in the real world.
So did you like that video? So visit WatchMojo.com /suggest and see your idea turn into a WatchMojo video. If you want to make a poll for yourself, that is. But anyway, Bernie gets elected. He'll break 4 records. First Jewish president, the oldest living president, and I can't remember what the other 2 are, but maybe that independent thing probably. Sorry about now. Bernie is the one. No doubt about that. We just need to believe that he can. If he fails again, let's hope he inspires the next generation to take up our arms, not let her fight it. Well, that's just a saying. I'm not saying go and grab a gun and just bang bang bang. No. I'm not saying that. I mean, run for office. Run for office. Run for any political office. Run for any political office in the United States. Even in the DNC committee, because that definitely needs to be fixed. That place needs to be fixed the most. Either that or just burn the DNC. And I say burn with a B-E-R-N, not B-U-R-N. Okay. Okay. Because if he loses again, I think, and after all the evidence we got of the DNC cheating, I think it's time to commit to Dem exit. No excuses. Either Dem exit or Dem reform. We have to do something. We can't just let we just can't let those corporations and the 1%, the selfish people who want their way, have their way in the politics. This is a people we're talking about. If we can fix the political system, we'll fix America. That'll be my campaign slogan if I ever run. Fix America, save the world. Plus I think it's time to pass on the torch. But I'm getting too much in my personal Yeah, I'm gonna get involved. Yeah, I'm gonna get involved in politics. In fact, I'll leave a video for you. Up there for you to see in my future, especially in politics. Talking about more. But anyway. Thanks for Thanks for watching this video. Now don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you can, share this video with as many people as you can. Friends, family, complete strangers, the possibilities are endless. Especially Biden supporters and other supporters who now support Biden because of their endorsements. And other Bernie supporters too. Green candidates. The possibilities are endless. Vote for Bernie Sanders. Vote for Bernie Sanders. Vote for Bernie Sanders. And if we can override the corporates and the corruption, we'll win. But until next time, to everyone out there, remember to feel the burn for Bernie Sanders. See you next time. Bye. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Bartell here, and this is my Bernie story, which I'm going to show you the 20 reasons Bernie Sanders is the one to beat Trump in 2020. It's an online article, so I'm going to get written by Brian Hangley. So don't get confused, okay? And I'm only gonna get 20 seconds to, get it all set up. So here we go. Timer starting now.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The 20 reasons Bernie Sanders is the one to beat Trump in 2020. All the information on this online article is backed by data. Written by Brian Hanley, a political reporter covering the Bernie Sanders campaign, HuffPost, The New York Times, New York Magazine, The Wall Street Journal, Forbes, etc. Published on September 25, 2018. This online article is a 9-minute read. Number 1. He's on track to win the 2020 primaries. If New Hampshire's 2020 primary were held tomorrow, polls show Bernie Sanders edging out former Vice President Joe Biden by 7 points. But Sanders is more than the frontrunner in the first scheduled primary of 2020, he also has a higher probability of defeating Donald Trump than any other potential candidate. According to the most recent polls, Sanders commands the largest lead over Trump, followed by Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. Number 2. He's the most likely to win the Electoral College. Most notably, Sanders can capture the must-win battleground states that Clinton failed to. In 2016, he upset Clinton in both Michigan and Wisconsin, which in the general election she desperately needed to win, but capitulated. Sanders would have won both states, as he did in the primaries. After all, he defeated Clinton by a total of 152,337 votes in Michigan and Wisconsin. Clinton lost both to Trump by a total of 33,452 votes. Had Sanders been the nominee, Dems would have won both by a margin of 100,000. That alone would have deprived Trump of 26 electoral votes, reducing his grand total of 304 down to just 278. Remember, 270 is what's needed to win it all. Sanders, as the 2020 nominee, could nearly deny Trump the presidency by turning blue 2 states that he's already won. He also has the popularity to flip Pennsylvania and Ohio. Even Trump's personal pollster, Tony Fabrizio, concedes, "I think Sanders beats Trump." Sanders has the ability to reach a lot of the less than college-educated, low-income white voters. Number 3. He's the most popular politician in the country. While Trump broke the record for the worst favorability ratings of any nominee in history, Sanders maintains the highest favorability scores of any elected official. Sanders continues to be the most popular politician in the country by a large margin. He's the only one on either side who the majority of voters like. Even a Fox News survey found that no other politician was more well-liked, and most Republicans say that he's honest. Number 4. The kids are crazy about him. While Sanders remains admired across demographic groups, he's most competitive due to his record-shattering popularity with young people. In the Michigan primary, 81% of young Democratic voters cast their ballots for Sanders. In New Hampshire, 83% did. Sanders turned out more young people in the primaries than Obama did in 2008, receiving more votes from young people than Clinton and Trump combined. Number 5. He's a savage on social media. To beat Trump, Democrats need to run a candidate who can compete with the president's enormous social media influence. One of Sanders' secret weapons is the digital media empire he's built with the help of his media producer, Armand Aviram, formerly a politics producer at Now This. Sanders uploads thousands of originally produced videos to his social media channels, in which he and other progressives champion major issues like Medicare for All. Some of his more scripted videos feature Sanders talking directly to camera. However, it's not uncommon for Sanders and Aviram to strike viral gold completely serendipitously. For example, when Jim Carrey recently appeared on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, the actor described the benefits of Canada's healthcare system. Within hours, Aviram sprang into action, cutting the video into a shareable package that was distributed across the senator's platforms. Within 10 days, the video garnered over 12 million views on Facebook alone. At the top of the video was a Now-These-style title that read, "Jim Carrey Explains Universal Healthcare." Sanders' team first developed and refined this approach during the 2016 primaries. When a bird landed on Sanders' podium in Portland, his digital team converted the once-in-a-lifetime moment into viral multimedia and an online fundraising windfall. Sanders and Aviram understand that while a live speech like Carrey's can influence the millions watching in real time, capturing that moment and turning it into a viral video can reach tens of millions more in the days ahead. Aviram uses text cards, or subtitles, in his videos to convey the most important messages, while allowing viewers to follow along with their volume off, which most viewers prefer. It's the ripple effect that social media enabled, and the production techniques that Sanders' team perfected, that allow a moment like Kerry's to live on and even reach a targeted audience segment. Number 6. He's the undisputed leader of the progressive movement. Sanders and Aviram have not only hacked virality, but they have also seen their content move the needle politically. Their videos and live streams many times eclipse the major cable news networks in terms of viewership. It's all online, like the bulk of Sanders' fundraising. Coincidence or consequence, his videos have hit billions of views, while at the very same time, support for the senator's trademark policies such as Medicare for All have skyrocketed. Not long after Sanders hosted a town hall to discuss universal Medicare, which 1.1 million people live-streamed, polls found a seismic shift in public support for the program. 70% of Americans now support it, compared to 53% who supported it in 2017. Supporting Medicare for All, which Sanders pushed relentlessly into the mainstream, is now practically a prerequisite to running in 2020. Number 7. His supporters are as passionate as anyone's. Enthusiasm matters in elections, and Trump's base is clearly fired up for 2020. You need a candidate who can match that energy, and so far, Sanders is the only one who can surpass it. He attracts larger rallies than the next two presidential hopefuls combined. It's not all about cult of personality either. Sanders has a long history of talking about, and fighting for, the issues that most Americans care about. Voters have caught on to the influence big money has on our politics. They know that politicians represent the people, or too often, the special interests, that fund their political campaigns. When it comes to tackling big issues like climate change, voters trust Sanders' integrity. Number 8. He's the king of grassroots fundraising. At a time when 77% of Americans want to get money out of politics, Sanders has established the political purity test for progressives by not accepting a single dollar from special interests and depending instead on small individual donations. He raised more individual campaign contributions in his 2016 bid for president than any other candidate in U.S. history. No other Democratic candidate is less reliant on big money and more in command of a grassroots fundraising army. It's going to take, not only the passion of his diehard base, but also cold hard cash to stop Trump. Sanders can raise more money than any other candidate without taking a dollar from special interests. Number 9. His message resonates with Trump voters. Sanders beats Trump on grassroots fundraising, but he also beats him on messaging. Trump's whole message is that he's the only one capable of taking on the establishment. That's a much harder sell when your opponent is Bernie Sanders, the guy who can't be bought and never once took a dollar from the NRA or fossil fuel industry. Number 10. He's a leading voice on environmental justice. According to the latest polls, 91% of Democrats say they worry a great deal or fair amount about global warming. Millennials worry about it more than any other issue. Across political parties and ideologies, 70% of Americans want the government to take aggressive action on climate change. Sanders' plan to invest in clean, sustainable energy and create millions of jobs in the process stands in stark contrast to Trump's insistence that climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese. Number 11. He has more experience and organizational readiness than the rest of the field. Sanders has unique experience as a mayor, congressman, senator, and former presidential candidate. He's already been vetted on the national stage. He's been through most of the presidential election process, knows how to debate and knows how to secure delegates. He couldn't have a more robust grassroots infrastructure in place and ready to mobilize. He has one of the most valuable email lists in all of politics. He has everything he had at the end of his presidential bid and everything he's built since. Number 12. He has crossover appeal that his competitors lack. As Sanders' former campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, put it, if you look at the sentiment of the people, nobody wins the presidency with just the people in your own party. Sanders has an incredible strength in his unique appeal to independent voters, and even former Trump voters. It's his crossover appeal that makes Sanders so dangerous. Yeah, but he's not even a Democrat. Democrats must consider whether this is precisely why he's so popular. More Americans identify as independents than Democrats or Republicans, so why not run one, especially at a time when the Democratic Party is the least popular it's been in 25 years and Sanders offers an opportunity to change that? Number 13. He may not be a Democrat, but he's given Democrats life. Despite being an independent, Sanders remains the prominent voice in the Democratic field. He's spent the last 2 years campaigning for progressive down-ballot candidates, introducing legislation to protect American workers and holding Trump accountable. He, more than any other American, popularized issues like universal health care, marijuana legalization, and tuition-free college while simultaneously destigmatizing socialism. The fact that even most Republicans now support Medicare for all is a remarkable development. It means there's bipartisan support for one of Sanders' trademark policies. Number 14. He's stronger than ever due to the DNC's reforms. Looking ahead to the next primary, superdelegates will play a diminished role, which is game-changer for Sanders. Aside from Clinton herself, superdelegates were the biggest obstacle Sanders faced in the 2016 primary. The Associated Press called the primary contest for Clinton days before California, the nation's most delegate-rich state, even had a chance to vote, basing its decision on the superdelegates' support for Clinton. In 2020, Sanders can rest assured that the superdelegates won't tip the scales in his opponent's favor. Since passing sweeping reforms in August, the Democratic Party decided superdelegates will no longer be allowed to vote on the first ballot, meaning they can no longer determine electoral outcomes, except in contested conventions. Number 15. He may be in his 70s, but so too are his main competitors. Since Sanders has few others, his biggest perceived challenge in 2020 will be his age. He'll be 79 on Inauguration Day 2021, but Biden will be 78 and Trump will be 74. Hillary Clinton will be 73 and Elizabeth Warren, 71. All the frontrunners will be in their 70s. Number 16. He may be old and white, but minorities like him. Another perceived challenge will be that he's an older white man. But 73% of registered black voters and 68% of Hispanic voters view Sanders favorably. Plus, Sanders has a proven track record of fighting racial and economic inequality. In the 1960s, he marched with Martin Luther King, Jr., and was arrested protesting segregation. Number 17. He may be a socialist, but so too are growing numbers of Americans. Bernie's a socialist. America isn't ready for that. Actually, the numbers tell a rather different story. According to Gallup, more Democrats now approve of socialism than capitalism. And millennials say they'd rather live in a socialist country than a capitalist one. Sanders has effectively destigmatized the socialist label. While all Democrats may not yet embrace democratic socialism, the vast majority do support Sanders' policies. Number 18. He's authentic. Sanders, who's known for straight talk and uncombed hair, isn't slick like traditional politicians. As Paul Farai of The Washington Post writes, Sanders is too busy conjuring big ideas to care about such trivialities as clothes and hair. In that way, he's a unique antidote to Trump. He too defies certain political norms in a way that excites the public. Last time Sanders ran, he was still the most popular candidate, but he didn't have the national profile he enjoys today. The fact that he's remained as well liked as he has, while becoming as well known as he has, is a rare feat indeed considering the amount of mudslinging and divisiveness in modern American politics. Sanders, who's critical of Republicans and Democrats alike, stands out as one of the few authentic voices in an otherwise broken two-party system that he insists requires a political revolution to fix. Number 19. He represents the change most Americans want. American workers are sick and tired of a political and economic establishment that for decades failed to deliver. They want a candidate with the guts to take on the rich and powerful, someone who can't be bought, someone who will fight for them, at all costs. Number 20. His interest in running isn't for the power, it's for the people. When asked whether or not his former boss would run for the presidency again, Jeff Weaver said, he's very focused on the question of beating Trump and putting a Democrat in the White House. And if he runs, it's because he thinks he's the one to do it. Follow me, Brian Hanley, on Instagram at Brian Hanley, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more 2020 coverage. You are the reason I, Brian Hanley, write about politics. Tags: Bernie Sanders, 2020 election, Bernie 2020, Bernie Sanders 2020, 2020. This article has received 6.9 thousand claps. Learn more at https://medium.com/@brianhanley_41165/20 reasons Bernie Sanders is the one to beat Trump in 2020, backed by data 593b0 ad 179e4.
And there you have it. So even if he suspended his campaign, he's still the best choice to beat Trump, not Joe Biden. That's where all of you come in. During the remaining primaries, but request a ballot, vote in by mail. This way you don't spread the virus and get more people sick. We need to keep the social distancing around until the virus is completely eradicated, or at least until we find a cure, 100%, and that everyone infected is cured. Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching this video. Now don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you can, share this video with as many people as you can, especially those who haven't voted yet. Because we need someone like Bernie here. Bernie to fix the political system. Fix America and save the world. That should be the policy. And don't let those corrupt DNC get away with rigging it against Bernie, even if they did work out a deal. All right, but until next time, this is Jeffrey Bartos saying, feel the burn. Bye. What's going on, all you Bernie supporters out there? Jeffrey Bartos here, and this is going to be my Bernie story. Today I'm going to be talking. Today we're going over the 10 reasons why Bernie Sanders is our best chance to beat Donald Trump. And for the record, this information comes from an article by Weston David Pagano. So be sure to give him a round of applause if you ever see him, or chat with them online. All right, without further ado, let's get started with this, shall we? Starting down.
20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The 10 reasons why Bernie Sanders is our best chance to beat Donald Trump. All the information on this online article is backed by data. Written by Weston David Pagano. A Juventino, a progressive, and a tall person. Published on January 14, 2020. This online article is a 20 minutes read. Note from February 18, since publication, Bernie won the first 2 states, has opened up a double-digit lead in multiple primary polls, has a greater chance of winning the primary than every other candidate combined, is winning the prediction market in every state but one, is polling as the most electable candidate, and is the only candidate beating Trump head-to-head in the latest poll. In just the past few days, Bernie Sanders has risen to the top in the most recent national poll, Betting Odds, and the specific poll that has predicted both the winner of Iowa and the eventual Democratic nominee in each of the previous 6 cycles. As his rivals begin to slip and falter, Bernie persists. He not only appears to have the most momentum, he could also be starting to peak at just the right time. In light of this, after years of Bernie's viability being outright ignored or downplayed with the same playbook used to discredit Barack Obama, it's no longer just the lefty publications that are paying attention. Suddenly, everyone from Hillary Clinton advisors, center-right New York Times columnists, mainstream media pundits, and even Republican strategists are admitting, or warning, that Bernie could win the Democratic nomination. But can he beat Donald Trump? Only rarely do polls show Bernie being perceived as the most electable, and when out talking with voters I often hear from those who like him, but have been convinced he has a lower chance of winning. As it turns out, despite the false narrative to the contrary, virtually every single metric shows that not only is Bernie the safest choice, he could very well be the only choice. Between 60–65% of Democrats currently prioritize choosing a nominee who can beat Trump over a nominee they agree with on the issues, a drastically higher percentage than was seen even after George W. Bush's first term in 2004. Luckily for those who prefer Bernie's policies, they don't have to choose between the two. For everyone else, the time has come to unite around the most electable candidate, even if he's not your first choice. Here are 10 reasons why. Number 1. Bernie has the proven electoral results. Though Vermont is thought of as a blue state today, this is only recently and marginally the case. Though it's voted that way in every presidential election since Bernie's election to Congress in 1990, before then it had chosen the Democratic candidate just once in its entire history. Vermont's current governor, along with 53 of the previous 59, are Republicans. Bernie celebrates winning election to the U.S. House of Representatives as Vermont's at-large member in 1990. This picture was taken by H. Rob Swanson from the Associated Press, or AP, for short. Vermont's progressive evolution is in large part thanks to Bernie, who has won more elections than any other candidate, breaking the GOP stranglehold on the state's politics. He did this by combating conservatism not with centrism, but principled democratic socialism far to the left of the local Democrat Party's failed opposition, even while the Cold War meant this was not an easy thing to do. After 4 victorious runs for mayor of Burlington, Bernie won the state's only U.S. House seat in 1990, which had been solid red for a staggering 55 of its 57 years in existence. Bernie took this seat from the GOP, and it has been blue ever since he left it. Then in 2006, he flipped a plus 40-point Republican Senate seat that had never been won by a non-Republican in the 152 years since the party's formation, and ended the longest single-party winning streak in U.S. history with a plus 33-point victory. Bernie didn't just win his previous 15 state and local elections, he even outperformed the Democratic presidential candidate every single time these elections have coincided, beating Bill Clinton's percentage in both 1992, plus 12, and 1996, plus 2, Al Gore 2000, plus 18, John Kerry 2004, plus 8, and Obama 2012, plus 4. Bernie isn't just the most experienced at beating and winning over Republicans, he's by far the best we have. On the national stage, Bernie has only ever vastly exceeded all expectations, coming in a strong second place behind Hillary Clinton in 2016, despite challenging the all-but coronated frontrunner as a then virtually unknown outsider. The first Jewish person to ever win a primary contest, he is the only current candidate who has ever won a single one before, and he has the only proven record of winning battleground states like Michigan and Wisconsin. Compare this to Joe Biden, whose campaign is being kept afloat almost entirely by his purported electability. He has received less than 0.22% of the vote in 3 previous Democratic primaries, during which he insulted voters before dropping out in disgrace after it was revealed he had plagiarized law school papers and campaign speeches in which he lied about having coal miner roots. Elizabeth Warren has only won 2 elections in her entire career, both for a Senate seat that has been Democrat-held for the vast majority of the last 100 years. Pete Buttigieg, who has also only ever won 2 elections, was last re-elected mayor of Indiana's 4th biggest city with an abysmal 14% voter turnout, receiving just 8,515 votes, the least any winning candidate has received since at least 1983. The one time Buttigieg attempted a statewide election, he was destroyed in a historically bad loss. We can't risk less proven campaigners against Trump. Number 2. Bernie has the polling. While both Warren and Buttigieg are currently losing to Trump in head-to-head polling averages, Bernie joins Biden as one of just 2 candidates who are winning. Some polls even show Bernie as the only one. The source of this information is from Real Clear Politics. Bernie has beaten Trump in more head-to-head general election polls than any other candidate, consistently winning them by some of the largest margins since July 2015. Bernie also polled against Trump much better than Clinton throughout the 2016 election, and is currently beating Trump on average in 4 of the 6 Obama-held states that she ended up losing. This is especially impressive considering how consistently Bernie performs drastically better than polls predict. We saw this in 2016, when primary polls showed Bernie leading in just 3 states, yet he actually ended up winning 23 contests. Bernie even won the crucial battleground state of Michigan despite being given a less than 1% chance of doing so. This disconnect is due to pollsters notoriously underestimating Bernie's support by underrepresenting and underweighting the demographics he inspires to turn out uniquely well, including young people, independents, who outnumber both major parties, and those who don't usually vote because they are disillusioned with the political process. There are legitimate qualms to be had with polling accuracy this far out, but fortunately for Bernie, when they're wrong about him it's usually because they're not ranking him high enough. Bernie is polling so well despite receiving the lowest proportional media coverage of any candidate, and he is the top second choice of more rival supporters than any other candidate. These 2 stats indicate he both has the most room to grow and is best positioned to unite a fractured party once the dust clears. Number 3. Bernie has the favorability. Bernie has the highest favorability and net favorability among Democrats, independents, and the overall electorate as a whole, in both the primary field and all of Congress. Bernie even has the highest favorability and net favorability specifically amongst voters who flipped from Obama to Trump. Candidate favorability, ordered by name recognition, and in the case of a tie, alphabetically by surname. The source of this information is from the Morning Consult. This is a more consequential stat than you might think, as no candidate with a net positive favorability has ever lost to a candidate with a net negative, which Trump has, in modern history. When both major candidates are positive or negative, the one with highest net rating has won every time. Perhaps more than any other indicator, people simply vote for who they like, and people like Bernie the best. With historically disliked options in 2016, nearly 3 million eligible voters did not go to the polls, and an unprecedented 1.7 million people in 33 states voted but did not select a presidential candidate on their ballots. The top reason given for not voting was a dislike for the candidates, with the percentage citing this higher than it was in the previous 2 elections combined. Clinton was viewed so unfavorably that a majority of those who preferred Trump supported him only to oppose her, not because they liked him, resulting in a drastically higher rate of negative voting than has been seen in recent history. Despite a vocal minority wishing to portray Bernie as divisive, fewer Democrats say they would never vote for him than would never vote for Biden or Warren. On top of his high favorables, Bernie is consistently viewed as the most honest and trustworthy candidate who best understands the problems of people like you. If we nominate him, Trump will lose a sizable chunk of these negative votes he relied on to win. Running another out-of-touch and unrelatable candidate like Biden would likely hand Trump millions of disaffected voters once again. Number 4. Bernie has the donors. Donor numbers are arguably more compelling than polling data, considering that the average poll is a multiple-choice question distributed by cold calling 500 random people, whereas donations are an open-ended question presented to the entire nation every single day. Who do you support enough to willfully give your hard-earned money to? Donors by location. Bernie is in blue. The source of this information is from the New York Times. Bernie is the only candidate to have more unique donors, 1.4 million as of December 31, 2019, 500,000 more than second-place Warren, individual donations, over 5 million, and total donated money than Trump. At this point, Bernie has more donations from more donors than any other candidate in U.S. history, and he reached the 1 million unique donor mark, which no other candidate has reached, half a year sooner than Obama set the previous record. He's done all of this despite the most crowded primary field in modern history, spreading the potential donor pool far more thinly than it normally is with only 2 or 3 major candidates. Because of this, Bernie has more cash on hand than any other Democratic candidate, and he's amassed this war chest despite also being the only one not taking any money from billionaires, corporations, or bundling. In fact, when the spouse of one billionaire tried to donate to Bernie's campaign, he returned the check out of principle. These numbers, which highlight both superior spending power and popularity, show no sign of slowing down either, as other candidates have. 300,000 new people donated to Bernie in the last quarter alone, and, because they're small dollar contributions averaging $18 and not one-time deposits of the maximum legal amount from ultra-wealthy mega-donors, over 99.9% of Bernie's contributors can keep giving in the future. Of course, due to the Electoral College, the geographic distribution of these financial backers will matter once the checks turn to ballots, and Bernie's is the most strategic by far. He leads in 46 50th states, all but the next 4 candidates' home states. Crucially, Bernie has received more donations than Biden, Warren, and Buttigieg combined in the 206 specific counties that decided the 2016 election by flipping to Trump after voting for Obama in both 2008 and 2012. Number 5. Bernie has the ideology. In the 21st century, the Democratic Party has lost every single presidential election in which they ran a centrist/moderate candidate, Gore, Kerry, and Clinton, and won every election in which their nominee ran as a progressive fighting for change, Obama in 2008 and 2012. Simply put, we already tried putting a neoliberal running on incrementalism up against Trump in 2016, and that campaign and its message has failed. Even the Republican moderates John McCain and Mitt Romney lost while the more extreme Trump succeeded. The middle lane has died, and it's time to pick a side. We simply must learn from these mistakes, adapt, and nominate a better and more progressive candidate in 2020 if we don't want another Trump victory. You know that tacky cliché about how insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over but expecting different results? It is repeated so often for a reason. When people are dissatisfied with the status quo, as they are now with wealth inequality at its worst since the Great Depression era, they will seek out change, as they did in electing Obama. Though it was the wrong kind of change, Trump beat Clinton because he was offering some while she was not, and candidates like Biden that are running on the message that nothing will fundamentally change follow in her doomed footsteps. Trump's grip on working-class populism is vulnerable not to neoliberalism that ignores it, but to Bernie who speaks to and redirects it with the platform that will most comprehensively improve the average American's life, and therefore inspire them to vote in November. The data backs this up. The majority of Democrats now want a candidate more progressive than Obama and, though Bernie isn't even a real socialist, even views socialism more favorably than capitalism. Yes, some are still wary of the S word, but the GOP's tired penchant for indiscriminately lobbing the label at everyone, such as noted capitalist Obama, who won anyway, has essentially rendered the word meaningless and the attack toothless. Polls show Bernie actually beats Trump by more when labeled a socialist than when labeled just a Democrat, and even Trump himself has admitted running against socialism in 2020 might not be so easy. In fact, socialism itself is even polling higher than Trump. It's time to stop worrying about what the far right will be scared by and start fighting for what the rest of America wants instead. Still, detractors often point to Trump being the worst ever as a reason why we can't risk pushing for real progress and should instead revert to the safe status quo for the most important election of our lifetimes. While this self-fulfilling excuse for digressing to the mean is almost always, often knowingly, wrong, the opposite is especially true in this case with the most brazenly repulsive opponent in modern history. Even the most anti-Bernie naysayers will find it hard to justify abandoning their own number blue no matter who crusade of the past 4 years. Please note that on Twitter, Dr. Jill Stein says that vote blue no matter who is a scam for Dem elites to demand loyalty they won't return. You can read the tweet for yourself by going to https://drjillstein/status/12196956632330977331, s=20. In fact, if a more aesthetically civil and moderate Republican was incumbent, such as Mitt Romney, then hordes of corporatist, centrist Democrats could defect in the name of anti-extremist unity. Yes, you can argue that the stakes are now higher than ever, but that would be precisely why this is actually the best time there has ever been to diametrically oppose what is especially wrong with what is the most right. Number 6. Bernie has the policies. While those with vested interests in stopping progressive policies will tell you Bernie's platform is too extreme to win, the opposite is true. Practically every single one of Bernie's policies are supported by the majority of voters, including tuition-free public college and abolishing all student debt, the Green New Deal, legalizing cannabis and expunging past convictions, restoring voting rights to those with criminal records, and expanding employee ownership of companies, to name just a few. Republicans know this. Trump admits Bernie's platform would be a tough one to run against, and Tucker Carlson predicts it will win many thousands of Trump voters. Other Democrats are now adopting policies similar to Bernie's to capitalize on the support he has built, too. We don't need to choose between electability and popular policies when it's Bernie's policies that make him the most electable. For example, even a majority of Republicans now support Medicare for All, a flagship policy that Bernie took from fringe to litmus test issue nearly entirely on his own. Crucially, Medicare for All still polls with majority support even when it is explicitly stated that it replaces private insurance. These positions truly matter to voters, as we saw when Warren dropped dramatically in the polls following her abandonment of Medicare for All. Note from March 1, Medicare for All has received +6 to +27 net positive approval ratings in exit polls in each of the 4 states to vote thus far, proving its popularity even in red states. Because he has the most popular platform, voters consistently rank Bernie as the best candidate on healthcare, on the environment, the economy, and immigration. Top organizations feel the same way. Greenpeace and Sunrise Movement both rank Bernie as their #1 candidate to combat the climate crisis with A+ and A- ratings, respectively, and the Network for Public Education grades Bernie highest with an A on average across all areas. By putting people-focused policy over party, Bernie attracts unique crossover appeal. His ability to speak openly and honestly about his ideas to right-leaning voters, instead of pandering to or disparaging them, consistently wins them over like no other Democrat can. The candidate that will win is the candidate with a proven ability to earn raucous support for his platform whether deep in Trump country or in a Fox News town hall, and only Bernie has shown the ability to be that candidate. Number 7. Bernie has the demographics. Despite the false narrative to the contrary, Bernie has the most diverse coalition, consistently winning the most non-white, women, and LGBTQ supporters and donors out of the entire pack. He consistently ranks highest with independents and working-class voters and donors too, which will be key in winning over Trump's populist base. On the other hand, largely white, college-educated bases such as Warren's and Buttigieg's are incredibly unlikely to win on their own. Note from March 1, Though he's always led with all non-white and younger black voters, Bernie now leads with all black voters as well. Crowd at Bernie's campaign kickoff at Brooklyn College. This picture was taken by Spencer Platt for Getty Images. Despite Bernie's age, he is also far and away the most popular candidate with younger voters. Bernie is the only Democrat currently beating Trump with college students, and his student support group is the largest in history. Recent polls show a stunning majority of those under 35 currently support him, which isn't surprising considering he received more votes from those under 30 than Clinton and Trump combined in 2016. When looking at the past two Democratic nominations, this demographic has been crucial. Obama won young voters and they carried him to a general election victory, whereas Clinton's failure with youth saw her lose to Trump. Moving forward, this demographic is only becoming more important than ever, as boomers were outvoted for the first time in 2018, and those under 35 became the nation's largest voting bloc. This is not just due to a natural generational shift. Either voter turnout for those under 30 even increased 79% between 2014 and 2018, the largest increase for any age group. Passing up their candidate of choice would spell disaster come November. Number 8. Bernie has the endorsements. Bernie has earned arguably the three highest profile endorsements made so far, with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib all rallying behind him. Far from the usual jockeying for political favor, these endorsements come from the most progressive members of the U.S. House, and they're bravely sticking their necks out to do it. Ocasio-Cortez formally endorses Bernie in Queens, New York at this primary's highest attended rally. The source of this picture is from CBS News. As some of the newest members of Congress, these young women of color are the face of a rising generation, and they've co-signed Bernie's vision from a diverse range of perspectives that make up America. Aoc represents a New York district as a former bartender of Catholic and Puerto Rican heritage. Omar represents a Minnesota district as a Muslim who came to America as a Somalian refugee, and Tlaib represents a Michigan district that is third poorest in the nation as a Muslim of Palestinian heritage. As the sole candidate still fighting for true Medicare for all, Bernie has also won the endorsement of the country's largest nurses union, the 150,000 member NNU. His support for the Green New Deal won him Sunrise Movement's endorsement with more than 75% of its 10,000 member vote, and his education platform also earned him the only teachers union endorsement thus far, when UTLA, the second largest in the nation with 35,000 members, chose Bernie with 80% of the vote. Bernie's labor plans have also earned endorsements from the nation's largest CWA local union, California's 17,000 member UPTE, and New Hampshire's 10,000 member SAU chapter. Most recently, one of the nation's largest immigrants' rights group, Make the Road Action, gave Bernie their first presidential endorsement ever. They canvassed more than 255,000 homes in the 2018 election, and they plan to knock on 600,000 more doors for Bernie in 2020. The 200,000-member American Postal Union has endorsed Bernie too. Progressive advocacy group Center for Popular Democracy Action, CPD's 600,000 mostly non-white members also voted to endorse Bernie with 75% of the vote. CPD canvassed an estimated 5 million doors last election, and is behind 65 policy victories, 25 congressional victories, and 110 state legislative victories in just the past few years alone, making them a formidable ally. Number 9. Bernie has the excitement and stamina. Bernie is best positioned to beat Trump because he is the only movement-based candidate in the race. His "not me, us" calls for a political revolution are resulting in some of the hugest grassroots, bottom-up mobilization the nation has seen in generations. Bernie meeting supporters at a rally in North Carolina. This picture was taken by Sarah D. Davis for Getty Images. This is illustrated by Bernie having the most volunteers, over 1 million as of the first week of his campaign, and the largest rallies, his biggest had 26,000 inside and thousands more outside. His campaign consistently puts in the most work. His army of passionate supporters have knocked on 500,000 doors in Iowa and made over 10 million calls nationwide in just the last month, doubling the initial goal. Bernie is getting these results because his supporters are far more committed, confident, and enthusiastic than any other candidates. Not only are they least likely to defect or drop off, but they're most likely to convert friends and family before bringing them along to the polls on Election Day. Bernie is also by far the most likely to inspire first-time voters to go to the polls, meaning he won't just keep the Democratic base energized, but he'll bring in badly needed fresh blood as well. No wonder the Senate Democrats made Bernie their chairman of outreach despite him technically still being an independent. Even the party establishment recognizes his unique ability in this area. This is especially important following an embarrassing loss in 2016 blamed by many on Clinton's inability to excite. Biden would be similarly unable to inspire the level of engagement needed to win a general election. A recent poll shows just 8% of respondents feel he is exciting, and he has so few volunteers he has to post job listings for canvassers. These are pretty grim signs for the party should he become the nominee. Bernie is able to excite so many voters in part because he puts in the most work. He's essentially been campaigning since 2015, and he's still packing in more events than any other candidate. Even weeks after his health scare, Bernie was back to vastly outperforming Biden, who has been skipping major party events, hiding from the press, and holding only between a quarter and half as many public events as other candidates. Bernie has the stamina to maintain such a rigorous schedule because he's still quite healthy, and he's released more medical records than his rivals to prove it. It's statistically expected that a man of his age would have some degree of coronary artery disease, and the recent procedure he had for it is one of the most common in the country and regularly reverses this condition without ever affecting job performance. Comparatively, Michael Bloomberg, Bill Clinton, Dick Cheney, and Bush all suffered the same or worse starting at younger ages. Biden has even required brain surgery after suffering multiple aneurysms, has a cardiac issue that causes mental decline and strokes, and clearly suffers from cognitive issues. He refuses to get tested. The last time a Democratic socialist pushing a New Deal ran for president, he inspired enough enthusiasm to be elected a record-breaking 4 different times. If you're worried about Bernie's routine tune-up performed with modern technology, consider how FDR's 19th-century-born, polio-ridden body won a world war and ushered in an unprecedented era of domestic prosperity, all while confined to a wheelchair. Number 10. Bernie has the best matchup vs. Trump. Though Trump is unable to intelligently debate policy, he won in large part because of his ruthless effectiveness at using scandals and personal attacks to target establishment politicians. Hillary Clinton's plentiful weaknesses lined up perfectly with his wretched strengths, and it was entirely predictable how he would hammer her with her support for the Iraq War, her emails and FBI investigation, her husband's accusers that she helped discredit, and more. Trump mocking a disabled reporter at a rally in South Carolina. The source of this picture is from BBC. It's not hard to imagine Trump doing the same to Biden, who he'd target as an embodiment of the corrupt DC swamp equally as well. Trump will point out how Biden, who can barely string a coherent sentence together, often lies about also promoting the Iraq War, has worked to cut Social Security for 40 years, has a history of being bad on women's issues, and has a penchant for creepiness that has led to at least 8 sexual harassment allegations. Then he'll hit Biden for being both to right of him on trade and easily bought, having donated to the former VP himself. To make matters worse, Biden is now embroiled in a Ukrainian scandal the Democrats themselves are elevating and perpetuating as the unnecessary premise for impeachment. Showing a shocking lack of temperament, he lashed out at a voter who brought this up, raising serious questions of how Biden would handle Trump's attacks on the topic. His bizarre decision to defy a subpoena to testify in Trump's trial will now also make him appear as if he has something to hide, and Trump is already running ads to this effect. Similarly, Warren faking indigenous ancestry and lying about it is simply senseless ammunition to give Trump. She's already played directly into his hands on this, and shown an inability to handle even gentle pushback from liberals. If Meghan McCain can get Warren to crumple simply by repeating herself, then, frighteningly, the senator stands little chance against Trump. Lacking the bravery to even hold a town hall on Fox News, Warren will likely have no answer should Trump claim she has been a Democrat for fewer years than even he was. With his horrid record on race and, well, pretty much everything else, Buttigieg is surely causing Trump to lick his lips in anticipation as well. The inexperienced former mayor is poorly handling being protested by the activist groups we should instead be fighting alongside, and if he's so noticeably flustered and clenching his fist aggressively when pressured even mildly by Warren, one can only imagine how his calculated aw shucks demeanor would be battered by Trump's more relentless hounding. It doesn't even matter if Trump's attacks are true or not, but many will be, and the optics can be fatal regardless. We simply can't afford to put forth a candidate who will forever be pinned on the defensive, unable to pivot to the issues, and stripped of the clear moral high ground even if only in appearance needed to hold Trump to account. This is why, as the cleanest and safest option we have, Bernie is the ideal nominee. Even the most vocally anti-Bernie advisor from Clinton's 2016 campaign, who has since endorsed the senator, now repeatedly admits there was never any oppo on Bernie that could derail him in a general election, calling him the strongest candidate to handle the right's smears. Voters agree. Despite being thoroughly vetted in the mainstream since 2015, neither party has been able to come up with much besides an awkward critique of gender norms from 1972, a shoddily mischaracterized nuclear waste disposal that never even happened, a few unhinged Russian conspiracy theories, a winter coat his stepson gave him, and some empty insults. Trump still can't manage any better than weakly calling him crazy, if he acknowledges him at all. Trump's allies in Congress warn Bernie poses the greatest risk, and the president himself has even admitted that the 2016 race would have been tougher had Clinton chose Bernie as her vice president, saying he was the only one I didn't want her to pick. There's a reason why Trump also cowardly backed out of his proposed debate with Bernie in 2016, Trump simply knows he can't beat Bernie. Bernie can't be attacked as a beltway swamp monster in need of draining because he is the leader of the anti-establishment movement. With his laser focus and lack of scandals, only Bernie can be relied on to not play into, and invariably lose, Trump's games. At the end of the day, Bernie is the only candidate who can force Trump to stick to the issues, exposing him for the fraud he is. That's exactly how we're going to win. If you liked this article, you might also be interested in A Progressive's Guide to Choosing Between Bernie and Warren and 125 plus reasons you should not vote for Joe Biden. Tags: Bernie Sanders, Politics, Election 2020, Democrats, and Donald Trump. This article has received 1,259 claps. Learn more at https://medium.com/@westonpagano/10 reasons why Bernie Sanders is our best chance to beat Donald Trump. FC 9234889E333.
Sorry, I forgot to turn on the phone. I forgot to turn on the mic. Anyway, so there you go. Now, now you can see. Now you know why. Now you know the 10 reasons why Bernie's the best choice to beat Trump. So, if you still have some sense, I suggest you still help campaign for him, even though he said he suspended his campaign. He's still. That doesn't mean he's off the ballot. He is still on the ballot. Which means if he can get the most votes, even if he suspended his campaign, he could still win against Biden, who I highlighted is not the best choice. Who in that article and I highlighted is not the best choice to go up against Trump, as Weston David Pagano has explained. We can't risk it. And even if And even if Bernie does lose, I think this article actually has given some blueprints on for the next generation of burners. And you do see what I did there. Instead of saying Bernie crat, I said burners because we need more burners. Whether they're Democrat, whether they're Democrat, Independent, Republican, or any other party, we need more burners like them, or burn-gressive liberals. We need more progressives and even liberals in office everywhere in the United States, and maybe even around the world. Whether the country is a dictatorship or a democracy, we need more burners, democratic socialists, progressives, green environmentalists, progressives, liberals. Forgive me if I said a word twice. And more that benefit the planet and us, and not just a few. That is the key. Because I believe Bernie Sanders is going to leave behind a legacy that will affect America, that will help America for the better for generations to come. So if you're watching this, Bernie Sanders, thank you. I salute you. Even though I wasn't in the military, I still kind of wish I was in the military. But after all this talk about bad stuff's going on in the military, I'm now starting to. There's a part of me that wants to be in the military, and there's another part that doesn't want to be because of all the bad stuff that's going on with veterans and all. I hope you understand what I just said. But anyway. Thanks for watching this video. Now don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and share this with as many people as you can in America and even around the world. Because Bernie is the one. Bernie is for us all. Bernie, yay, Bernie. So now that you hear that cheer, and don't forget, even though he suspended his campaign, still cast your ballot for Bernie, because it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. Well, anyway, until next time, this is Jeffrey Bartos telling all of you burners out there to feel the burn. So what did you all think? So wait, let me try again. Sorry for the delay. I was caught off guard when the thing finished. But anyway. What did you think? Did it motivate you to vote for Bernie? And Bernie Sanders, did that did that motivate you to come back, unsuspend your campaign, unsuspend your unsuspend your campaign? Sorry. Unsuspend your campaign so you can beat Joe Biden for the next Democratic nomination, and then take on and beat evil President Donald Trump and become the next and true president of the United States? Because you're making a big mistake endorsing Joe Biden. Because have you even looked at his record? Past record. Let me give you an example. Let me give you actually two examples. He doesn't support the Green New Deal, and he's responsible for the internment camps for immigration, for those immigration kids, or concentration camps. Because if you're not gonna unsuspend your campaign, I recommend you change your endorsement from Joe Biden to Howie Hawkins, because that's a true guy. Because that guy is another true candidate, and we all now have a backup choice in case Bernie, doesn't come back and unsuspend his campaign. So if we go from Bernie 2020 to Hawkins 2020. So, Bernie or burn the DNC. That's burn with the B-E-R-N. All right. I don't know what day it is, but this live stream was recorded on 4/29, and tomorrow it'll be kind of like the same thing but bigger and more with more videos. I'm not gonna go into detail because I don't want to spoil the surprise. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And keep subscribed to my channel so I don't lose the 1,000 subscribers I already gained. Please. I need to keep those 1,000 subscribers. Because this is the only way I could think of to get money I need to get where I'm going. Sorry to say it, but I know I need money, but I'm not that desperate enough to do it, to do illegal things for it, for even corrupt things or like bribery, And that's what everyone should be doing. Because greed is the root of all evil, if you know what I mean. So, where was it? Oh yeah. For the Americans. Oh. Sorry. Now, for the American people, vote for Bernie. Right there. And for Bernie Sanders, Bernie, come back, please. So thanks for watching. And remember what I told you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. And help keep this channel alive by subscribing and sharing this with as many people as you can. Friends, family, complete strangers. The possibilities are endless. And if you can't share this video with everyone in America, no matter who they are, friends, family, complete strangers, the possibilities are endless, because we got to get Bernie into the White House no matter what. But until then, remember, this is Jeffrey Bartow telling everybody to feel the burn.